Okay. All right. So bear with me a little bit as this is the first time that we're going through all this. So have a little patience just in case we get off track a little bit. All right, everybody. Well, welcome to our first ever Keller Williams Greater Cleveland Southeast Zoom meeting. I don't think you guys have ever had one of these before. This is obviously not a common thing that's happening, but now with everything going on, we wanted to make sure that everybody was still together. We were still coming together as an office and still keeping that camaraderie as high as we could, even though we're all responsibly keeping the social distance that's necessary. So let's jump into a couple of these. So just so you guys know, we are going to have these Zoom meetings every Thursday at 11 o'clock. So mark your calendar. So we did vote before that we were going to do an every other week meeting. Just because of everything going on, we want to make sure we're keeping you guys into the know of everything. We are going to make sure we're doing these Zoom meetings every Thursday, so once a week, until things clear up or we notify you otherwise. So mark your calendar for those. Okay, so Zoom. So for some of us, this is a new technology, and obviously we're doing this as an office. And I said in the email and our Facebook post the other day, if you don't have a Zoom account, go sign up for a free account. We're going to be doing a lot of these for the office as far as trainings and masterminds and everything goes. So sign up for a free account for that. And also use Zoom, use this tool. It's generally free. So you can do 40 minutes of video time. Use it with your clients. So instead of doing listing consultations or buyer consultations in person, to keep that safe distance from people, my team is doing this, and we're going to talk about some more strategies later. Use Zoom as a tool to do those consultations or meet with people instead of doing it in person. Like sign up. It's going to be something it's not going away anytime soon. So get used to it and sign up and use it. And again, I'm gonna cruise through. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so I'm gonna kind of fly through the next handful of slides just so you guys know. If I'm going too fast, I guess shoot me a text message and I'll slow down. But I'm gonna kind of cruise through some of these. Okay, so the next one. So avoid the office and stay healthy. We don't want to have to close the office. We want to keep it open if people have to come in. We are asking you to stay home if you're not feeling good, or just in general, don't come to the office. We love you. We would love to see you. And for right now, just make sure that you're being safe about it. We don't want to have to close it. So just stay home and stay healthy. If you are feeling sick or if you're having any symptoms, anything, just stay home and recover. And so I would generally say everybody stay home so we don't have to close the office. Because if we do have to close, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard for everybody to come in if they do have to come in. Just a quick update on the office refresh. So we are still plugging along, and we're continuing as planned. We are not changing anything. We are confident that this stuff will only last a few weeks, potentially a few months. We want to make sure that when everything does come back and everybody's back working and the virus is cured and everything, that our office is up running and ready to rock and roll for all of you guys to come and be able to work. So we are moving on as planned. Nothing has changed there. So, and I wish I could see everybody, because I would ask the question, how many of you guys are tuning into the KWR live streams? These are very good. I tuned into a couple yesterday, and my team has tuning into them. A couple people from the Market Center have given me very positive feedback about these. A guy yesterday did a class where he talked about, for the last 5 years or so, he has not gone to people's houses for listing presentations. He's had everybody come to the office to do his listing presentation. So his philosophy is that he never has to go out to see people's houses. Only his stager goes out. So strategies like that I think are very interesting. Like KWRI, we're fortunate to be with a company that is like KWRI happened to have the technology. I do see someone is commenting up somewhere. Our live streams recorded somewhere. That's a good question. Does anybody know the answer to that? I believe they are. Sorry, my mouse has disappeared on me. Okay, so sorry about that. So do pay attention to the live streams. They are very good. I don't know if they're being recorded. We'll look into that. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen this. I just wanted to throw this slide in there. Keller Williams is also creating a payment plan for Family Reunion and Mega Camp. It's $79 a month. You can create a payment plan with them. to go to family reunion for next year for 2021. So go to familyreunion.kw.com and you can register for that. And there's all sorts of options and things you can do. I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. So if any of you were planning to go to family reunion with us next year in Las Vegas, you might as well start a payment plan. I know I'm going to start one just to keep it going and to know that I don't have to have that huge cost right at the end a couple months before. So local info and training. So what we're going to do coming soon, we want you guys to make sure that you're getting all of the market information that you need. So we feel that KWR is doing, and pretty much everybody on Facebook, everybody online is doing a ton of video training. So we don't want to overwhelm everybody. We want to make sure that we're giving the training locally that's here in our market that's important to us. So I would say go do the KWR training for the country. Go and for like the general training stuff. Go to those. Go to Facebook. There's every single mega agent out there is doing trainings right now. What we're going to do in this office, we're going to do local information and training here. So we're going to have, so like Amanda posted something about the point of sale in Cleveland Heights. If OAR comes out with some new addendum or amendment, or they want us to do something, that's the kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about. So you guys are in the know. So the things that are directly going to impact your business. I will say, it's my first time doing this, so I need to. Can everybody still hear me? Someone give me a thumbs up if they can still hear me. Okay, good. My slides aren't showing. Okay, let's get back into this. All right, someone give me a thumbs up if you can see this. Okay, good. Okay, so moving on. So more training that we are going to be doing. We are going to be doing a Shift book club. Amanda is going to be leading this. It's going to be Monday, this coming Monday, the 23rd at 10:30 a.m. Amanda's going to share, or one of us from the office are going to share a link so you guys can join that Shift book club with her. And then once you are on that call, we will notify you of when the following classes for this are going to be. We're hoping we're going to do it twice a week going forward. We were doing the MREA book club, just now with the market being what it is in this unique situation. We want to make sure that we're attacking Shift and really diving into Shift as a group so we can all use those strategies and survive right now so that we can at some point thrive in this market. So join Amanda at 10:30 on Monday. And again, we'll send you that link for the Zoom call, either via email or on Facebook, and check it out with us. Okay, so now we're going to get into a couple just little tips and strategies of the market and some things that we're doing here. So I'm sure you guys have heard this everywhere. Right now, with the way things are going, it's important to reduce your expenses. I would say reduce your business expenses and reduce your personal expenses. Take an afternoon, take a day, and go through and literally go sit down with yourself or your partner, or your spouse, or your family, or whatever it is, and go through line by line of your budget, or create a new budget to cut as many expenses as you can for now and to stop spending. We don't know what's going to happen. And, fortunately, we're with Keller Williams, and Gary has been telling us to do this for the last like 3 or 4 years. So a lot of us have been doing it as time goes on, but I would say cut even further. Previously maybe it was 10%. Now see if you can cut 30% from your budget. See if you can cut 50% from your budget. Go and just start slashing those little $10 a month recurring charges that are on your credit card. Cut those out. Go cancel them. If you're doing, a different kind of like streaming service at home that you're paying for that you don't really need it, go cut that out. And so MAPS Business Coaching, if you guys can see my screen, they actually shared a sample budget with us that I'm going to share with you guys on our Facebook page. So this is basically what it is. And the idea of it is that you basically put the amount of income that you have coming in per month. And again, some of us might not know that because we are 100% commission. So I would estimate, and I would probably estimate low, just so you're prepared for it. And then you can go through and you can literally write out every expense that you have. And I don't have the whole thing. I only have a screenshot up here. And at the end of it, it shows what the difference is of how much you're cutting out. So I'll share this with you guys to use as a tool, or if you have some other tool, there's a million things you can find online. But I just want you guys to understand, like, cut expenses just in case. It's better to be safe than sorry. Stop spending as much. I don't know if Starbucks lines are still open, but those lattes that you were getting in the morning, that $3 or $4 a day, cut those out. You know, any Amazon extra shopping that you were doing, you know, don't buy clothes right now just in case. Again, it's just a precautionary thing because we don't know how long all this stuff is going to last, and we want to be as prepared as possible. Okay, so I'm sure some of you guys have seen, if you're out there doing business, some of these offices have a COVID-19 amendment, and we had a couple passed to us. And so we decided to implement something the same. And so we're going to give Nancy the floor here. So we are, as an office, implementing a COVID-19 amendment into .loop for you guys to use. And I'm gonna go to my next slide so you guys can see what it looks like. And I'm gonna give it away to Nancy here. If I can unmute her, give me 1 second here, guys.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
I unmuted me.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back up and I'm gonna show the amendment. Can you guys all see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Great. All right, Nancy, take it away.
Okay, by popular demand, we put this together. We looked at a couple other ones that were out there and took the most distinct and the best parts of it. This has been, Sally has approved it, so we're set to go. I'll go over the language real quickly. It's our traditional amendment language at top, naming the buyer, seller, the property address, and the offer date. Buyer and seller hereby agree as follows. In the event buyer's lender, seller, escrow officers, the local county office responsible for accepting and recording of deeds, or any other business or government agency essential to the fulfillment of the purchase agreement becomes the subject of a voluntary, recommended, or mandatory COVID-19 virus quarantine or closure prior to or at the time of closing that prevents any of these individuals or entities from fulfilling their roles in closing the transaction, or the buyer or seller becomes the subject of a medically required quarantine documented by a medical professional, and the COVID-19 condition results in the inability of either buyer or seller to perform its obligations on the closing settlement date in the purchase agreement, or agreed to extension of the date, the closing settlement date shall be automatically extended upon the written request of either party for a period not to exceed 10 days after such COVID-19 condition is lifted. Neither buyer nor seller shall be required to extend the closing settlement date more than 30 days from the closing settlement date in the contract. Nothing in this amendment shall be deemed to prohibit or limit the ability of the buyer and seller to further extend the closing settlement date by mutual agreement. Once this is signed by buyer and seller, it's automatic. It will automatically go into play if any of these conditions are met, so you don't have to run around changing dates and all. Right now, our recommendation is if you, let's say you have a listing with a Howard Hanna agent that's already given you their addendum, that's fine. You're covered as long as your seller has signed it. If you are in a transaction right now and there is not one of these, please get it signed by your client and then get it to the other agent so that we are covered. So it will make things easier for all of us. It's pretty straightforward. I am hopeful that OR will come out with their own amendment language, but that all takes time too. So that's what we have going forward. It should be in .loop later today. CJ, I think you were talking about just making it available to everybody. So start using it. What else should you be doing right now, folks? If you have an active listing, talk to your seller today to find out that whether or not they're comfortable with showing their home right now. Make sure you meet their demands. Get it in writing if they don't want active showings. Again, go do a video tour from the front door as a showing would happen and show everything, not just still pictures that are blended together. Do a good video tour. Make sure they are comfortable. Have sanitary wipes, Clorox wipes if you can at the scene if there are going to be showings. For your buyers, tell your buyers they may not be able to get inside all the houses. They also, you need to tell your buyers that if they're sick or someone in their home is sick, you are not going to be taking them out on showings. So we just have to be smart. It's also a good time, since we really don't want a lot of activity in the office, start using, making sure that earnest money is going to the title company, so we aren't dealing with that. And use Janelle, use our Ohio Real Title earnest money app. It's great. So if there's any questions, folks, you can text me, email me, call me. We're hunkering down here in Novelty.
Thanks, Nancy. So what we're going to do, just so you guys know, at the end, we're going to open it up and unmute everybody. So if you guys do have questions for Nancy about this, and so we figured it might be best if everyone can hear while we ask questions. We're going to hammer through just with getting all this technology. I just want to make sure we don't screw up the entire system here by going off it. So hold your questions till the end, and we'll make sure all those get answered for you. Okay. Thank you very much, Nancy. I appreciate it. And you guys use this, start implementing it. It's going to be worth it. We just don't want your clients to get stuck in a transaction and not be able to get out because of delays or whatever comes up. So thank you so much, Nancy, for helping with putting that together. We appreciate it. All right, so next, we're gonna talk about some strategies in this market with Amanda Pullman. Amanda, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Morning,
and take it away.
Everybody hear me? Hiya. So I'm just gonna give you 5 tips that our team has adopted quickly. You know, things are changing quickly, so we're trying to stay ahead of this. But 5 tips for us while we're going through this period. So number 1, as Nancy said, bulletproof your transaction. So using the coronavirus addendum is very prudent, because not only is it protecting you with your buyers and sellers, but it is, in a way, holding that transaction, because the last thing we want is cancellations. We want to put it into kind of a holding mode. And do reach out to your sellers and buyers in the middle of transactions, and something as simple as, let me ask you, are you worried about your transaction? That's a conversation that you don't want to have right before closing. You might as well be having them now. And you'll notice that a lot of people just are waiting to hear from you, hoping no news is good news. So you will get a very honest feedback from them on how they're feeling. And then you can deal with the objections and bring in the addendum. Number 2, as Nancy said, use virtual brokers tours, house tours, and Sunday opens. Let us be the agency that's putting a lot out there, showing our clients that we still are showing houses. It's just virtually. And I want to tell you that Ted Riola, who is also Stacy, I know Stacy Jones uses him. He's our photographer and does our videos, and he is right now offering our office extremely low rates. I mean, add-ons to video, add-ons to photographs for something like $30 or $40 to do a whole home video. So think about listings coming on, and while we're not quarantined, getting him into your listings, even just to add on the video. Let's say you've already listed the house and you just, it's just about to go live and you don't have a video. He's got some extremely competitive rates, and I will post his information on our Facebook group and also give it to Michelle so she can email it out. I would say though, time is of the essence. Try to get as many as your listings videoed as possible. Be responsible, as Nancy said. You've got to make sure you're following along with the regulations. You don't want to be called out with anything, any complaints that you're not doing the same thing for every listing. So make sure that all your current listings, whether vacant or occupied, have all the resources. We have some flyers that you're welcome. I put them on the Keller Williams Facebook page that just, responsibilities of a buyer, responsibilities of a seller. Have shoe covers available, ask your sellers to have hand sanitizer, soap at the sink. Just make sure that you're doing the right thing so that when people are coming in and out, nobody can complain that you didn't, use caution. And then number 4 is stay positive. All of the social media going around is so negative and worrying. People are very worried, but be a leader. This is your time to step up and show everyone that it isn't business as usual. It's different, but there's a lot that we can do virtually, and we want to still, you know, make people feel good about we are still in business. Houses are still selling. I listed one this morning. I've got something like 20 showings already scheduled, and the
Wow.
first person in gave us a cash over asking offer. So we know that the market is hot. So keep that out there, but obviously being very sensitive. You know, we don't want to say, oh, here I am at a crowded showing. That's not being sensitive to people. But definitely, you know, keep up the very positive social media with your sensitive side showing. You know, lots of funny things happening. And I love some of the posts I'm reading. Katie, Tammy, you know, now that your guys are home with kids, it's like a whole different way of doing business. And posting things with your dogs or your kids where you're surviving and thriving is only going to make people around you feel good about our market. Last but not least is, well, I guess I went into it, is the, you know, the human element. We do care about people and we're concerned about them. And now is the time to really ramp up with calling people and just asking them, how are you doing? Just how are you doing? I just thought about you and how are you? And I think that's going to really impact you rather than sitting there and feeling as worried as we know we all are. We want to just keep on putting positivity out there while we get through this. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Hey Amanda, really quick, don't mute yourself yet. Julie Miller just asked if you can create like a generic flyer, or Catherine or whoever on your team, a generic flyer that you share, so they don't have to remake it because it has all your information on it. Would you guys be willing to create a generic one?
100%. We'll create it, and then we'll send it to everyone, and then you can put it in your loops or do whatever. Catherine's been working overtime creating a lot of them. So, you know, we've had pictures from people all around the country, putting them in beautiful frames, you know, and having them at each listing. But if you do it for one, do it for all, everybody.
Great. So just to add one more thing to Amanda's, so I was around in the last shift. I was around when the market went down. I got my license in 2009, so I got in at the bottom. But one thing I do remember, when the market does change and there is some uncertainty going on, show your successes. On social media, like more than ever, document and show that you're working right now. You know, if you're showing houses, show that you're showing houses, or whatever you're doing. If you're looking for listings for clients, you know, if you put something under contract, if something closes, show those successes more than ever to give your sphere of influence and your clients confidence to still work. Like they want to know that you're working and that you're doing well and you're succeeding in a market like this. So now more than ever, show that you are having some success.
Can I interrupt you with one thing that I forgot? You
Sure.
also want to call on your co-brokes and make sure, you know, just say, how are you doing? Offer them Gary's free Audible download of Shift, the book, because it's free right now. I posted it and I'll put it on our Keller Williams Greater Cleveland Southeast Outward Facebook site. And that's just showing agents that you're trying to help them. And here's some resources, because Shift is timeless. Even though it was written back in early 2000s, the tactics are timeless.
Agreed. That's why we're doing the Shift book club starting Monday. Okay, so let's jump back in. Thank you, Amanda. I'm going to jump back into my slideshow here. Okay, so as the market changes, I think about what are the opportunities that are here. You know, what can we do right now so that when things do get better, how can we be thriving? How can we be better than everybody else? So one of the things that I was thinking about is diving into Command. So to me right now, I think if you're at home and you're not doing a whole lot, there's an opportunity to dive into Command. Number one, you can update your database. This is like, if you have nothing else going on, if you're a little slower than you normally would, you're not showing as many houses, go ahead and update all of your clients, update Command. I would say, so number one, update your database. Number two, learn Command. If you're not familiar with it, if you really haven't had time to poke around, go in now and poke around with it. And play around and see. And so what's new? They're introducing new things all the time. So this is your opportunity to go in and just kind of break it, play with it, and test it out. And the third thing that I would say, and I guess nobody's going to be able to respond to this question, but are more people home right now than were in the past? So the answer is yes. So to me, I see an opportunity to share your mobile app, your consumer facing mobile app with as many people as you can. You want to get that in people's hands right now to get them to start using that. Even if they don't buy a house today or this week or next week, you want them to use that as their tool going forward so that when things do bounce back, they already have that in their phone and they're ready to search houses, and all the leads are going to go to you. People are going to be home, they're going to be more bored. They're going to be looking for something to do, and a lot of them are going to be looking at the real estate market. And a lot of people like to look at houses that are for sale. So get that in front of people's hands now. Okay, so now to wrap up a little bit, I want to go through a few slides. I want to give you guys an overall market update with our clients. And people are going to be asking us questions. How's the real estate market? What's going on in real estate? What's happening? My goal right now is to show you guys the bigger picture of the real estate market so you can be the economist of choice. So we want to make sure that we're the pro, we're the economist that people can go to find out answers for the real estate market. So I have a handful of slides here that I got from a source online that are going to talk about the overall real estate market. And so really with the volatility of the stock market and the uncertainty of the coronavirus right now, there's definitely some people that are concerned that we're headed towards another market crash. It's very similar to the one that was 2007, 2008, 2009. But what I'm going to show you today is going to show you why that is actually not the case. A lot of people I think have PTSD from those, the crash before. A lot of people that were around, as though they're a little hesitant to make decisions right now. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to go through and show you how you can educate your buyers and sellers to show them that things are different from last time. So I'm going to go through a few slides and I'll share these with everybody as we kind of go through. So slide number one. So mortgage standards are nothing like they were back then in 2005, 2006, 2007. So during the housing bubble, it was difficult not to get a mortgage. So pretty much anybody with a pulse could get a mortgage. Nowadays, it's far more difficult to get a mortgage than it was before. So what this shows the availability of mortgage credit at any point in time throughout history. The higher the index, the easier it is to get a mortgage. During the housing bubble, the index skyrocketed, meaning anybody can get it, versus today that it's going to be difficult. Okay, so the second slide here is, even though it has felt like it, housing prices are not out of control like they were back then. It's really interesting to look at what they were for the previous 6 years before the last crash, of how much they were raising and going crazy versus the last 6 years. And so there has been appreciation over the last few years, but even Gary told us at Family Reunion, if you look at 2018 and 2019, that it sort of stayed steady over the last couple of years. Like it got a little crazy in 17, but even if you compare that 2017, and we all know what that felt like, it was nowhere near. I mean, look at 2004 of how much prices were appreciating back then. That's mind-boggling to me. And so it's showing you that houses aren't appreciating like they were before. And so there's a huge difference. So normal appreciation is 3.6. And while the appreciation now has been higher as far as history goes, it's not accelerating beyond what the early 2000s were doing. And again, save any questions to the end, and we can do some Q&A at the end. So months of inventory. So we don't have a surplus of homes. We actually have a shortage. The month supply of inventory, a normal real estate market is about 6 months. So you can see in 2007, it was actually higher than that. And today it's about half that. So it's interesting to see that there is just more, there's not this overabundance of houses that were for sale. Like in 2007, there were too many houses for sale, right? And so that caused a big problem. And those of you guys, I guess, that were around it, it was a very different time of how things went. And again, someone has a question on it. I'm not going to be able to see it until the end. So hold those off if you can. Okay, so my next slide here, number 4, is that, sorry, my phone's ringing, I'm blowing up and all sorts of other stuff here. So the percent of median income compared to the purchase of the median home price. So basically what this is saying is that, hold on, sorry, I'm going back. Wait, I think I skipped the slide. Bear with me 1 second. So percent of the median income needed to purchase the medium priced home. And so what's happened is people needed more money to buy houses in 2006 than they do today. And so over the last few years, wages have gone up when the market's gone up. So there's not that huge gap between the prices of the home and the amount of money that people are making. So it's for the general market with people, the prices have gone up, but that gap has closed down a little bit. So basically it means the average family pays less for their monthly income towards the mortgage payment than they did back then. Okay, so total home equity cashed out. So people are equity rich. So it's really interesting to go back and look at 2005, 2006, and 2007 and see how much money people were pulling out of their house to go buy who knows what. And so I think people learned the lesson. So looking at 2017, 2018, and 2019, people haven't pulled out as much money or equity from their house. I remember when I first got into real estate, a huge problem that I saw most of my clients that were in is that they did some sort of line of equity. They'd refinance or did something crazy where they pulled out more money, so that it raised how much they owed on their house. And so that was a big reason why a lot of people couldn't sell their house. So if you look at 2017, 18, and 19, that's not really the case anymore. People sort of learned their lesson from those years to not do that. And that's advice I give to all of my clients nowadays is don't do that unless you absolutely have to, because so many people got in trouble from it. So interest rates over time. So if you look at the interest rates through the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and today, obviously they're hovering around 3 to 4%, low threes, I think even below that right now. But if you look at even in the 2000s, it was 6.29% versus today. So this slide says, even with mortgage rates expected to increase slightly over the next 12 months, today they're hovering at a 5-decade low. So they're hovering at a 5-decade low. So very different from what they were back then. So I love this slide. And so to me, it's great. And I need to move some stuff on my screen here. So how interest rates impact monthly housing payments. So if you look at today, all the way on the far right there, the average rate of 3.45. So these are all based on a $200,000 fully amortized mortgage over a 30-year loan. So approximately, their monthly payment today would be $894 on a $200,000 house. Go back and look at the 2000s. So at the same price point, at a 6.29% interest rate, their payment would be approximately $1,237 versus today $894. So based on what interest rates are today versus what they were in the last, the affordability is much better than it was back then, which obviously makes it a good time to buy. So this is my last slide for the day. So basically the general concept that I want to leave you guys with is we don't believe that we're going to see another housing crash. I think what's going to happen is that because people are going to potentially not have the income that they did, we're seeing it right now with the bar restaurant industry, and the spas and all those kind of service-based industries like that their income, because their businesses are closed, their income is going to go down. So those people potentially aren't going to be able to buy houses. And to be honest with you, most of those people probably weren't going to be able to buy it anyway. Most of those people were going to be renters. And so I think sometimes some people with large real estate portfolios, that those bartenders and those servers that are renting from them, I think some of those people could be looking at something different. It could be a little bit of trouble there. But as far as your typical home buyer, their jobs are still there and they're still making money. And those are typically our clients. Not all the time, but those are typically our clients when it comes to that kind of thing. So I would say for us, it's going to be a small dip in the market. And look, the year probably won't be what we all thought it was going to be, in January or in November when we were setting goals. So we need to readjust. We need to come up with a new plan of what we're going to do this year and how we're going to survive right now to be able to thrive when things do come back. Okay, so I'm gonna stop this up here, and we're gonna open it up to some questions because I'm sure we want to make it talk. Because to be honest, it is a little weird sometimes to be able to just talk at a computer screen. Okay, so let's do some Q&A. If you do have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I guess and introduce yourself.
I'm
so we know
Laura
who it is.
Murata. Hello, everybody. I am on no video because you don't want to see me at the moment. But you're all of you on video are looking great, so that's fun. So my question is, I've heard a couple of, I don't know, contradictory things. One, that expected unemployment is going to rise to 20%. And the other, that the Fed was going to go to a 0%. Someone actually told me negative, which I said, well, that's absolutely ridiculous and impossible. But that the Fed would consider 0% for mortgages. So has anybody else heard that from a verifiable source?
So I've heard that too. I've heard that they could go to the negative, and so the reason that they would do that is basically so the Fed could go to a negative, but the banks would stay the same. So for the consumer, nothing would change, but it would be the Fed basically taking a loss. So the banks don't have to take a big loss, and so the consumers don't have to take a big loss.
Got it.
And I'm sure there's somebody far smarter than I am to explain that. But I have heard that they could go into the negative as well. And negative not being a bad thing. It would actually be.
Well, my gosh, no, it would definitely, it would be amazing, right? I just don't see how it would work, and then with refinances and stuff, but far smarter.
So that's different than mortgage rates. So that's one of those big misconceptions that's out there. When they said the rates are going to zero, that does not mean the mortgage rates. I'm sure most of us saw that on Facebook or read it somewhere. That does not mean the mortgage rates are going down that low.
That just means prime. You're talking about what the Fed is lending money at to
banks.
To the banks, correct?
Right.
Okay, just to keep the flow of money.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Those are my major questions.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Laura. Anybody else have any questions or any of the slides that I went through or anything that we've covered today? Anybody else have any questions? If you do, unmute yourself and feel free to ask away.
Hey, TJ, it's Matt McQuarrie.
Hey, Matt.
I was going to say one thing that we're trying to do is just, how we do role playing and script practicing. I think it'd be invaluable for agents to do this, like with one another, just do role playing on this using the technology. So when you're not doing it for the first time with your clients.
I love that. I think that's a great idea. And as we kind of progress and go through and things start, like we kind of really get a grasp on what's going to happen here in the next few weeks. We're definitely going to provide you guys with scripts to use. Today, we wanted to give a general overview of what the market is. And I just wanted you guys to feel confident about the market right now, and so that you can pass that along to your clients to show that you are confident and optimistic about the market. Because if you start to show panic to your clients, they're going to show panic too, and they're probably not going to take action. And so the more confident you can be about the market and actually know what's going on based on those slides that I just showed you, like it potentially is not going to be a housing crash. Are things going to be adjusted? Absolutely. They're going to be. That's why we talked about the reducing your expenses just in case. But we don't feel that it's going to be this massive market shift. Yeah, thank you for that, Scott. Matt. Anybody else? Who else has a question? Go ahead, Amanda. Go ahead.
Can I add that if you have people talking to you or asking you about penalties for canceling, or will I get my earnest money back, and getting kind of terrified, and we had this quite early in the week, make sure you're sending back an email and saying, while I understand you have these questions, they're not well answered by me, because I am not, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a real estate agent. So contractually, the obligation, you'd probably want to talk to a real estate attorney. Give them 3 names and make sure that that's documented. Because the last thing we want after all of this settles down is a whole bunch of people saying they got bad advice. The same thing with the zero Fed. Yeah, you have to be able to understand the difference between that. So you're not putting out on Facebook that it's 0% for loans, because it certainly is not. If anything, they went up slightly because the lenders are completely overwhelmed with the purchases and the refis, and you must make sure you clearly understand the difference between, you know, when the Fed lowers their rate, and it could go negative. In England, it's been negative before. I mean, it's not uncommon for it to go negative to, you know, kind of put a shot into the economy when needed.
Very well said. Hey, Janelle, I see you on there. I don't know if you're able to, do you want to give a quick little update as far as title goes in Ohio Real? Anything that you can do? This is not prompted at all, so I know you're gonna wing it here a little bit. Do you want to give us a little heads up?
No problem. Let me tell my boys to turn the TV down. Boy, turn it down. Okay. So what we're doing, we've actually for the last 3 weeks prepared for like an emergency. So starting from the top, our manager has gotten people high-speed internet, laptops, everything. So let's say everything shuts down, we're good to work from home. It's really business as usual. And what's the difference now is that all counties are basically closing to the public, but they are still filing deals. Okay. So what they're doing is we have to drop everything off by like 2 p.m. to file the same day. But everyone was worried, let's say it was due to close on the 19th, but we got in at 3 o'clock. If every single thing that you have between buyer, seller, lender, everything is signed, then if it's in at the county, we are considered it filed. Okay. Underwriters are all agreeing to disperse, so you don't have to worry about your commission not coming. So as long as the counties stay open, we are clearly open for business. If the banks close, it's a whole different ballgame. But right now, please know that if a file is considered closed by us, you will still get that confirmation. And if it files the next day with the county, it's still considered closed. So you can give the keys and we will disperse. Make sense?
Perfect. Yeah. Very good. Does anybody have any questions for Janelle? Why we're putting her on the spot here? Okay, good. Anybody else? Any other questions about anything that I covered today, or anything that's going on, or anything that we're doing? And we're happy to talk through anything.
I'm sorry, I'm always talking, but you know that's what I'm like. Sorry. Earnest monies. I know Nancy mentioned it. Please try not to have earnest money to the market center just during this time, because it's so difficult for Michelle to track it, to be there. She might not even be able to be there. So if everybody can really just do it payable to the title company, and hopefully it's Ohio Real Title, that would be such a help and would really help us out with Michelle's workload, because she's doing 2 jobs. So that's just a plug for Michelle, so that she doesn't have to deal with earnest money floating in.
And if I may just add to that, it's difficult for me or Connie to get out now to the office, just based on she's dealing with older family members and I have the kids. It can happen. So I can send everybody a general email, or I'll just put it on your Facebook where to send the earnest money, or encourage them to use our earnest deposit tool, guys. The ACH transfer, it's so safe. It's encrypted. Tons of firewalls because it's going from bank to bank. So if your buyer is concerned, give them my phone number. I'll walk them through it. And then if not, then they can still write checks. No problem. But just take advantage of it. And plus you're ahead of the game, especially considering everything that's going on. Just one less transaction, one less thing to touch. Okay.
And looks like Megan Samuels just said Ohio Real Title Online earnest money is so awesome. Recommending it to everyone to try that. So definitely use that. Looks like Sandy asked a question. Have showings on listings declined? Does anybody want to answer that? I would like, so just I'm sure they're probably going to a little bit. But Amanda, it sounded like you guys just listed something and you had 30 people set to show in a few days. Like, I know from experience, my team we're still working. We're still going out there, and they're still pretty busy. And obviously I follow a lot of friends on Instagram and Facebook and everything. It looks like people are still working and writing offers and accepting offers and putting listings on the market. So it looks like people are still up and at them. I'm hesitant to say business as usual because things are going to be different. But I would just go with it as in your brain as if it is business as usual. And until it's not. Like Keisha just put, I'm still listing and doing showings. Love it. Yeah, get out there. People still want to buy. It's still a very good time to buy a house because rates are so ridiculously low, and it's still a good time to sell your house because inventory is so ridiculously low.
And CJ, if I could just say something quickly as a
Sure.
reminder, start using that COVID-19 potential delay amendment today. Any current transaction you have, that means it could be ready to close in a day or two, get it signed and make sure you get it to the loan officer and to the title company. They have to have a copy of it. And then things will be protected.
So Nancy, what's a quick script that you can give us? So if I sent that to my client right now, let's say my buyers are under contract and they're buying a house, and I sent that to them to sign, and they said, "Hey, what is this?" What would you tell them? Like, what would you give a quick, like the little elevator speech to tell them what it's for?
This amendment simply will protect our transaction in the event things like the county shuts down. If we all are put on lockdown, it simply makes it unnecessary for us to come back to you all the time for change. It's a
Perfect.
protection.
So I love it. So to protect our transaction, I would definitely say write that line down. That's a powerful line to use. A couple of the questions out there. So is that COVID-19 amendment ready today? Yes, we will be uploading it to .loop today. We'll probably send you all a PDF copy of that as well. Implement that as soon as you get it and get it signed for people, just because we don't want them hanging in limbo. I'm not sure who M is to everybody. What if a seller doesn't want to sign the addendum? Can anybody answer that? Nancy, can you answer that? So what if the seller doesn't want to sign the addendum?
I would really, I can't imagine why they wouldn't, because they're the ones with the most to lose. They want to sell their house. They have an offer accepted. I don't see why they would want not to, because it's all things that are beyond anybody's. Nobody is in charge of this. No one has any control over it. So this is to protect their money, their asset going forward while we're waiting. Who knows? I mean, Governor DeWine could close everything, shut down everything if he wanted. The president could do it. So we just have to be prepared.
I'd also add that if they don't want to sign it, that you compose an email attaching it and just saying, per our conversation, you decided not to sign it, because you never want them coming back to you and saying, well, she never gave it to me. And if you're sending it to people, do it through .loop so you can track it. Always think of the worst. I'm terribly morbid, but always think of the worst thing that can happen, because when the dust settles, there's going to be incredible opportunities with your buyers. Those of you that have been working with buyers, this may well look like before the shift, what CJ and I have talked about, where buyers are golden and they're getting deals. And now that they can't go into houses most readily, they're not going to be, in some cases, as competitive with bidding situations, but some are still going to lose it, lose the deal, or they're not going to get it. And they're going to, buyers agents now have to get, very good about writing really good offers and doing it, while the market is like this with the uncertainty, to get the bids accepted. So I would say just cross your T's and dot your I's as much as possible, because after the dust settles, there will be people who have lost, sellers and buyers. And when the dust settles, then they're going to come back and want to, complain about it. And we don't want anybody to pin it on us.
Right.
Hey, Amanda, one quick thing too. It's Matt from Eric's Preferred. If they don't want to sign that form, make sure they sign the waiver for the warranty so you guys are protected. We just want to make sure that every single time you guys talk to someone, if it hits the fan, that you guys have protection.
Very good.
Excellent.
Good. Any other questions? Okay. So data is telling us that history is most likely not repeating itself with the housing market. And let's learn lessons from the past and pick up the shift book and read it and use those strategies. In my opinion, the person who's going to win this race is the person that talks to the most people, not in person, but online or via text or Facebook. So reach out to everybody, ask them how are they? How are you? How are you doing? What do you think? Everyone wants to talk about it right now, especially if they're being socially shut down. Reach out to as many people as you can, dive into command, and be kind. Be nice to people. Show compassion. If you're showing that you are being productive online, don't be braggadocious about it. You know, be grateful about it. So someone, Janice, just asked what pages are we reading for Monday. So Amanda's going to cover that on Monday. It's going to be more of an intro class to the shift book via Zoom. So look out for that.
Yeah, we'll post something in the Facebook page. And then I wanted to know, let's keep going with MREA, because we still want the basics, and we still need to kind of, go back to the Bible of how Gary wrote the book for us of millionaire real estate agents. So I'm intending to also do MREA every Thursday. So, stay posted for that too. I think book clubs by Zoom are going to be really fun and interactive. We'll probably never want to do them around the tech table again after this.
Very good. All right, guys, we will be posting all the info that we shared on our Facebook page. This video is going to go on our Facebook page. It's also going to go on our YouTube page. I'll share those slides with you so you guys can have them as a resource if you want to use them. I'm around, Amanda's around, Michelle's around, Nancy's around, Deb's around, Sally's around. If you guys have any questions or you have a problem with the deal or something comes up, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here for you. Again, survive to thrive. Keep your head above water, reduce expenses. And when this all clears out, we want to make sure that we're winning at the end of it. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day. And we will see you next Thursday for the next meeting via Zoom. Bye-bye.